Well, hello. Welcome to our ethical reading webinar for this month, and I'm delighted to say we've got Phillip back with us, Professor Phillip Stratton-Lake from the University of Reading. And Phillip today is going to be talking about are there actually moral facts that we can rely on? So we'll be getting to that shortly. As usual, my name is Gurpreet Singh. I'm going to be the host, and I just want to give you a quick introduction to ethical reading and what we're about. So we are a not-for-profit social enterprise, not so new now. We've been going a couple of years. Our mission really is to embed or help embed ethics into the way we live and work in Reading, with a particular focus on organisations and workplace. We want to inspire people that they do have choices when they make those decisions, and we hope, through education and by working with others and learning through others and collaborating, we can actually make better decisions inside our organisations as a whole and individuals as well. We're delighted to have over 40 partners and supporters. These are organisations that are working with us and support us, and we have over 2,500 individual members and followers through our website, through social media and so on. And we hope that if you're not a member at the moment, you will join us, and I'll go through some of the reasons, some of the things we do. We run entirely by volunteers. There's no paid staff. So we're very grateful to them. And we hope that Reading really is the start of something much bigger, something we call the Ethical Cities Movement. So if we can make ethical Reading successful, we hope to replicate that with other cities throughout the UK and actually around the world. So what do? We very much believe in putting ethics into action, and we have a number of things that we do on a regular basis. So we have these webinars, and you can see those on our website, and you can go to our YouTube channel and have a look at them there at your leisure. We do regular meetups on a monthly basis. These are in the Three Guineas Bar in central Reading on a whole host of topics related to ethics. The picture there relates to the one we had around the ethics of artificial intelligence. We have a number of different types of resources on our website. Please go there. And every slide will have our URL at the bottom of the page. So do make use of that. We do business breakfast seminars for our business audiences. And we've got some very interesting ones coming up actually over the next couple of months. We'll be launching our ethical recruitment initiative, which is not so much a breakfast seminar. That's more of an evening launch at the civic offices on the 12th of March. And at the beginning of April the 2nd, I believe, we have Alex Edmonds from the London Business School talking about responsible business. And that is a breakfast seminar from 8 till 10. So we hope you can join us for that. Again, working with the University of Reading, we've developed a code of ethics, very succinct. It's on our website. It's the one we use, and it's designed in such a way that you can pick up and use it yourself if you're an organisation. And we hope that you do. You can download it. Feel free to do that. We've developed some training around how do you create a healthy and ethical workplace where people can thrive and is also at the same time highly productive. And you see a picture there of one of our events. And we, on average, do around 2 to 3 events a month. So lots going on, and we hope you take part. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Phillip now. And over to you, Phillip.
Hi, thank you. Hello, my name's Phillip Stratton-Lake, and I'm Professor of Philosophy at the University of Reading. And today I'm going to talk about moral facts and whether there are any. In particular, whether persistent disagreement or epistemological problems support the idea there are no such thing as moral facts, or if there are, whether they're just subjective facts. Okay, so suppose you come to have a moral belief. It doesn't matter what that belief is. That is a belief about whether something's right or wrong, good or bad. So take, for example, you come to believe that it's wrong to bribe an official. Now, if that's what you believe, that commits you to believing that the proposition it's wrong to bribe an official is true. That's because beliefs are in the business of tracking truth, and it's just incoherent to suppose that you believe some proposition, but don't think it's true. I think pretty much every philosopher thinks that if you believe something, you might not have a belief about whether that belief is true, but you're certainly rationally committed to thinking it's true. So if you have moral beliefs, then you're committed to thinking it's true, that those moral beliefs are true. Now, of course, that doesn't guarantee that you're right to think it's true, because we all know we make mistakes. But if you're correct, then the proposition it's wrong to bribe an official would be a true moral proposition. So if you not only think that it's true, but you're right to think that it's true, then what you believe is a true proposition. Now, in one sense of fact, facts are simply true propositions. Right? It's not the only sense of a fact. I won't mention others, but there's at least some sense of a fact where fact just means true proposition. So if you're correct, it becomes a fact that it's wrong to bribe an official. Right? Starting off with your belief that it's wrong to bribe an official, you're supposing that commits you to the idea that it's true, that proposition is true, and if you're correct, it would follow that that would be a fact. And since it's a moral proposition, it looks like that commits you to a moral fact. Right? So there's moral facts. That's a short and easy way to get from what you believe, plus a few assumptions, to the existence of moral facts. Okay, perhaps that's too easy though. Suppose I disagree with you. You believe that it's wrong to bribe an official. I disagree. That's because the bribe on offer, perhaps we're considering a very specific case, and it's the bribe on offer is of very little value, and offering it's the only way to get the work done. So I have a much more pragmatic approach, I suppose, to such things. So you think it's wrong. I don't think it's wrong. Right? I think it's not wrong. Now, yeah, it seems there's no way of proving which one of us is right. And this disagreement will just be a persistent one. There's no kind of proof that we can run through which would decide things one way or the other. And this sort of disagreement, is quite common. Just think about the Brexit debate about whether leaving the EU was the right thing to do or whether it's a terrible mistake. Doesn't look like there's any prospect of coming to some sort of reasoned agreement on that. And these sorts of pervasive and persistent disagreements, they often make people doubt that there is any fact to the matter here. Okay, so many people are led to be sceptical about the idea of moral facts because of such persistent disagreement. But how do you get from disagreement to no moral facts? Well, many people and some philosophers think that moral disagreement, this undermines the view that there are moral facts because they think it's best, such persistent disagreement is best explained by the idea that there's nothing to get right. There's no fact to the matter. Right? That's why we can't come to a reasoned agreement, because there's no fact of the matter to agree on. If there were, then people's views would tend to converge more than they do, so the argument goes. And some people go a bit further and say that such scepticism about moral facts supports the idea that morality is really a subjective matter. That is, you have to be very precise when you use the term subjective, because it means so many different things. So what I mean when in this context, is that people's beliefs about what's good or bad, right or wrong, merely reports how they feel about certain actions, such as acts of bribery, for example. So if you think that some act of bribery is wrong, on this subjective view, all you're doing is reporting that you disapprove of that act. And if I say I don't think it's wrong, if I disagree with you and think it's not wrong, then all I'm saying is I don't have that feeling. I don't disapprove of it. Right. So on this subjectivist view, what looks like moral disagreement is really, or moral judgments are just reports of our feelings about certain actions. Notice if that sort of subjectivism is correct, you'd get moral facts, just that there'd be subjective facts. There'd be a fact of the matter about what it is for bribery to be wrong. The fact is just that you disapprove of it. But that's not the sort of fact that most people are sceptical of when they express scepticism about moral facts. So that would get you moral facts, but it'd be a Pyrrhic victory, because the sort of facts you'd get are not really what we hoped for. Now, could moral beliefs all be subjective in the sense I've just stated? I.e., could they all be reports about how we feel about certain actions, like abortion, euthanasia, death penalty, or bribery? I don't think that could be true. At least it couldn't be true if there's genuine moral disagreement. Right? Because moral disagreement is actually inconsistent with this form of subjectivism. Right? Why is that? Well, if you think that our disagreement is actually that what we're doing in such cases is reporting how we feel, and we're feeling differently about bribery in this case, then we're not disagreeing. I mean, you'd be telling me that you feel a disapproval for this action, and I'm reporting that I don't share that feeling. That's not a disagreement. We're not even talking about the same thing. You're talking about how you feel, and I'm talking about how I feel, and that's not a disagreement. I'd only be disagreeing with you if I said that you don't actually disapprove of it, and I'm not well placed to take issue on that. So what you'd get if this sort of subjectivism was true is no disagreement at all. All you'd have is each of us reporting our feelings, and since I'm not claiming to report what your feelings are about the matter, I'm not disagreeing with. It'd be like me saying that some meal, or you saying that some meal made you feel ill, and I say, well, it didn't make me feel ill. Right? There we're explicitly expressing our feelings, or reporting our feelings, but we very clearly aren't disagreeing. So if we have moral beliefs and we disagree, there are only two possibilities. I mean, that sort of subjectivism can't be true if there's moral disagreement. I'm supposing that we all think there really is moral disagreement, so we're only left with two possibilities. Either your belief that bribery is wrong is false and my belief is true, or your belief is true and mine is false. Now you might think, well, couldn't both beliefs be false? Well, no, because they're what philosophers call contradictories. That means one of them has got to be true, although they can't be true. One of them must be true. Because it couldn't be the case that bribery is neither wrong nor not wrong. And it couldn't be false. Yeah, it couldn't be false that bribery is not wrong and false that it is wrong, since it's got to be one or the other. So if one of our moral beliefs is true and facts are truths, then they're moral facts. So actually, moral disagreement supports the view that there are moral facts, at least if you allow that the fact that bribery is not wrong is a moral fact. You might disagree about that. You might think that's just not itself a moral fact, but just the absence of a moral fact, i.e. the fact that bribery is wrong. But there is a short argument for where you have two contradictory beliefs. One of them's got to be true. Now, you might think that's a nice, neat argument, but it's just too quick. I mean, what about proof? I mean, does the fact that you can't prove to me that bribery is wrong and I can't prove to you that it's not mean there can't be moral facts? Well, if we take a proof to be something that must be able to persuade people who disagree with us, then proofs aren't necessary for there to be facts. I mean, just take any debate you like a debate between scientists and creationists. Neither of them is able to persuade the other that their view is correct, but that hardly means there's no fact of the matter. Right? The fact might be as creationists think, and the facts might be as scientists think. But that they can't persuade each other doesn't mean there's nothing to disagree about. Doesn't mean there's no fact. The same is true, it's actually in quite a broad range of debates, such as in debates in history, economics and many other disciplines. Disagreement there may be such that neither can prove to the other that they're wrong or that they're right. But that doesn't mean there's no fact of the matter, something to disagree about. So there could be moral facts even if we can't prove which of our moral beliefs is true. All that's needed is for one of them to be true. We don't, in addition to that, have to be able to prove that it's true. Now, at this point, you may think I've made some sort of category mistake. I'm conflating facts and values. Some people think there cannot be moral facts, since there's a sharp distinction between facts and values, and things either fall on the value side or the fact side. It can't be both, so you can't have evaluative facts. But if any of our moral beliefs, then there are no fact-value distinctions. So if we have moral beliefs, there's no fact-value distinction. That's just a mistake. That's because some of your beliefs could be true, and as we saw earlier, if such a belief is true, then there's a moral fact. Right? And if you take moral facts to be evaluative facts, then there are evaluative facts. So there's nothing about the fact-value distinction which means that you can't have evaluative facts. What we should do is reject that distinction. It's a distinction that's designed for a completely different way of thinking about morality, where all you've got is feelings on the one side and facts on the other. But if you think that your moral judgment, that you have moral beliefs, then you should abandon the fact-value distinction. Also, even if subjectivism is true, I mean, I said that subjectivism about morality is inconsistent with the fact that there's moral disagreement, but even if some form of moral subjectivism is true, there'll still be moral facts. There'll just be facts about our psychology, as I said earlier. There'll be subjective facts. So facts are actually quite easy to come by. There can be facts about things that are socially and historically contingent, facts about borders, for example. One doesn't have to think there's anything metaphysically very deep for there to be a fact about where England ends and where Scotland begins. But there's still a fact of the matter. If you're standing in one place, you'll be in England. If you're standing, a few feet north, you might be in Scotland, and that's a fact of the matter. So it doesn't even have to have anything metaphysically heavy to ground facts. All you need is for there something to be true. I've often heard it said that there are you've got to divide things into facts and opinions. Right? Now, if you put that together with the idea that put that together with the idea that we have moral beliefs, you might think, well, they're just opinions, they're not facts. Right? But the idea that there's a fact-opinion distinction is just another false dichotomy. Things don't have to fall on one side or the other. Since our opinions, including our moral opinions, could be true, they could state facts. Right? So there might not be a contrast between your opinion about some matter and the facts. Your opinions might state what the facts are, and so your moral beliefs might state what the facts are, if those beliefs are true. So it's a mistake to think that things have got to fall onto the fact or opinion side. That's looks muddled to me. I suspect what people are thinking of when they contrast facts and opinions, what they're really contrasting is what we can know with what we merely believe but don't know. There's nothing wrong with that distinction. It's very misleading to express it as a contrast between facts and opinions. You're actually saying you're going to mislead your hearers if you express that belief as a distinction between facts and opinions. There clearly are some things that are mere opinions and some things we know, and it looks like our beliefs are going to fall onto one side or the other. It might be that all our moral beliefs are just opinions, that the sort of justification we have for them doesn't amount to knowledge. That's okay so long as they are justified. and some of them are true. And most of us don't have moral beliefs. We don't just pick them out the air. We reason to those, at least once we reach a certain level of maturity where we can think for ourselves, and we reject some that we took on face value, in our upbringing, and perhaps adopt others that didn't figure in our upbringing. But we reason to those, and we at least can justify ourselves to others, even if we can't persuade them. Okay, so what conclusion am I drawing here? Well, I think the fact that different people have opposing moral beliefs can't be explained by the sort of subjectivism I mentioned. If you believe some act is wrong and I believe it's not wrong, then one of our beliefs must be true. And since a true belief is a belief in a true proposition, and facts are true propositions, moral disagreement of the sort I've discussed implies there are moral facts. Right, and that's it for me. Something to think about at least.
Thank you, great. Thank you very much, Phil. Plenty to ponder about. I think I need to go through this once again to get the thinking straight. Certainly, I think in terms of thinking about the times that we're living in, where people do hold quite strongly opposed and polarized views and opinions, almost to the extent that they believe they are facts. I think what we've heard here is actually very helpful to try and unpick that a little bit in terms of understanding where they're coming from. Certainly, I found it very useful. A couple of examples you gave, Phil, particularly around the creationists versus the scientist view, I thought was very, very good one. And the notion of moral judgments are, could they be reports in the sense of a meal? You talked about possibly making you ill or not. It makes you ill, but I'm fine. So they're just kind of reports. I think that's an interesting aspect as well in a lot of these disagreements we see today. And in the era of fake news as well. And it's interesting to me that, for example, when people are presented with situations where there is proof, they still cling on to their beliefs. So, for example, Mr. Trump's inauguration speech and the size of the audience. It was quite clear where you could actually quantify the size of the audience, but it still wasn't believed. So that was very interesting. Fascinating. Thank you very much, Phil, and we hope you can join us next time for our next webinar. In the meantime, please do check out our website. We hope you join us. We're on social media. Please spread the word, and thank you for joining us.